Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to take your source material, articles, research, all of it, and just pull out the critical knowledge you need to get smart fast.
And today, we are focusing on something you might hold in your hand every single day, but probably overlook.
The dietary supplement label.
Exactly. It's the most critical piece of packaging, really. It's
Yeah.
a regulatory report card. It's a safety document for the consumer. And it's the brand's entire first impression, all rolled into one.
Yeah, we've been deep in this comprehensive industry guide on nutraceutical label printing. And it's sourced from experts who are, right at that intersection of FDA compliance and just ruthless retail competition. And our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to figure out why professional label production isn't just an expense. It's like a fundamental investment in managing risk and building success.
And that tension you just mentioned, regulation meeting retail.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
The FDA demands absolute legibility and accuracy.
Yeah.
But the consumer, walking down a store aisle, they demand something that just screams quality and trust in like half a second.
Okay, so let's unpack that. How do brands even manage that? Meeting the FDA's really strict rules, we're talking font sizes, specific layouts, while also creating a label that builds trust and stands out on a shelf with hundreds of other bottles.
It starts with this core idea.
Yeah.
Quality is compliance. The two aren't separate things.
Okay, let's get into that first big point then. Why label quality is so critical, not just for how it looks, but for managing, huge financial risk.
Well, the source material is really clear on this. Professional printing is basically the visual guarantee of quality control. When you, as a listener, pick up a bottle and see a really crisp, perfectly aligned label.
With consistent color.
Yes. You immediately project that same sense of rigor onto what's inside the bottle. You just assume the formulation and manufacturing are just as meticulous.
And the opposite is true too, right? A poorly printed label, fuzzy, peeling, maybe the ink has bled a little, that crust is broken instantly.
Instantly. It's a visual cue that the manufacturer probably cut corners elsewhere.
And that's where the risk comes in.
And it is a massive risk. Printing errors are incredibly high stakes. This isn't a small inconvenience. A simple misprint, like forgetting an allergen declaration or a typo in the dosage, that can trigger a Class 2 recall.
And a recall means pulling everything off the shelves, FDA warning letters, legal fees.
Catastrophic reputational damage. I mean, a printing mistake could be just as financially crippling as a major contamination error.
Just because the information is wrong or missing.
Absolutely. The cost of a recall from a label defect could easily bankrupt a small brand. And that's exactly why professional printers have such disciplined quality control and digital proofing. They mitigate that risk before a single label ever gets used.
You mentioned color consistency earlier. That feels more like branding, but I guess it's part of this too.
It's crucial. The pros use advanced systems like spectrophotometers to ensure the color is identical across every single production run.
No matter the size.
Right. So if your brand's signature ocean blue looks a little different every 6 months, the consumer feels that. It chips away at their loyalty, even if it's subconscious.
That makes a ton of sense. But for a startup, that initial cost for professional printing has to be a hurdle. Cheap printing is, cheap up front.
It is, but the experts say to view it purely as a long-term ROI. Yes, it costs more initially, but you avoid spending a fortune on reprints later, you reduce waste, and you completely eliminate that catastrophic risk of a recall.
So the cheap option ends up being the most expensive one in the long run.
Almost always.
Okay, let's dive into the legal foundation here. The FDA printing checklist. This is where the art stops and the law begins. What are the specific rules that impact the technical side of production?
The whole focus is on one word: readability. And the requirements for that directly shape the templates printers have to use. The specifics are pretty unforgiving.
Okay, the quick way.
Minimum font size for general text, like your ingredients or dosage, is 8 points. 8. For some footnotes, maybe you can go down 6 points.
8-point font doesn't sound very big, but I can imagine trying to cram a full supplement facts panel onto a tiny, curved bottle of liquid drops.
It's an incredible challenge. Every millimeter is precious real estate. And it's not just the size.
The contrast.
The contrast ratio is critical. The text color has to be different enough from the background to be easily readable. So you can't just pick a trendy light gray text on a white background. If it's not readable enough, it's a compliance failure.
And that whole supplement facts panel, the layout itself is set in stone, right?
It's completely non-negotiable. The FDA specifies the exact layout, the spacing, the hairlines, the font weights. They standardized it so consumers know exactly where to look for calories, ingredients, everything.
And then there's durability. The label has to actually last.
For the product's entire shelf life, which means adhesion testing is mandatory. Professional labs will put these labels through accelerated aging. They'll stick them in environmental chambers.
And expose them to water, oil,
Hmm.
things you'd find in a kitchen or a bathroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if that label peels or bubbles or the ink runs and you can't read, say, the contact info for reporting an adverse event.
That's a compliance failure.
Correct. So
Yeah.
if you keep your vitamins in a steamy bathroom cabinet and the label starts to peel off, that's not just annoying. That's a technical breach of the durability requirement.
Wow. So among common failures, it sounds like adhesion is a big one.
It's in the top 3, right alongside text size violations, especially on small containers, and color bleeding, where bad ink just blurs those tiny fonts.
Which brings us perfectly to the tech behind it all, printing technologies and material science. I mean, if we're demanding this much precision and durability, how are these things actually made?
Well, it's primarily 2 methods, digital and flexographic printing.
Okay, what's digital?
Think of a highly advanced industrial-sized version of a laser printer. It uses inkjet or toner. Its biggest advantage is for short runs and variable data. There's no expensive setup.
So it's perfect for new product launches or small batches where you need to pivot quickly.
Exactly. Then you have flexographic or flexo. That's the heavy hitter for established products. It uses flexible plates wrapped around cylinders to transfer ink.
Okay, so that sounds like a much bigger setup.
It is. The initial plate cost is high, but once you're running, the cost per label drops dramatically. So for massive volume runs, it's way more cost efficient. It's for your legacy high-volume products.
And I guess some brands use a mix of both, a hybrid solution.
Increasingly, yes. They get the speed of digital for things like lot numbers and QR codes, but the scale of flexo for the main brand graphics.
Let's talk specs. The sources mention printing up to 4800 dpi. Why do you need that kind of resolution on a bottle label?
Because of that mandated 6 or 8-point font. At a lower DPI, the edges of those tiny letters would look fuzzy or pixelated. It would become illegible.
Ah, so high DPI is literally a compliance tool to make sure the text is surgically crisp.
Especially on a curved surface where there's already a little bit of distortion, it's essential.
All right, let's do the material deep dive.
Oh.
This is the part people don't think about, but it dictates everything from durability to just the feel of the product.
It's just as critical as the ink, you're right. The workhorse material is something called BOPP.
BOPP, what's that?
It stands for biaxially oriented polypropylene. The key part is biaxially oriented. It means the plastic film has been stretched in 2 directions.
Okay, and what does that do?
It gives it incredible strength, durability, and fantastic moisture resistance. It's the go-to medium cost standard for most supplements that need a long shelf life.
And then you can step up from there to something like vinyl.
Right, vinyl is even more durable and has exceptional chemical resistance. You see it on premium products or things that might get exposed to oils, maybe something you'd keep in a gym bag. It has this very distinct, superior, almost luxury feel to it.
And the most basic option is still just paper. It's still paper. It's low cost, is great for certain applications, but it has very poor moisture resistance. It really only works for products in very dry storage or, for eco-conscious brands that want that natural, uncoated, recyclable feel.
Speaking of eco-conscious, what about the specialty materials? I saw clear and metallic films mentioned.
Clear films give you that no-label look where it seems like the graphics are printed right on the bottle. It's a very clean, modern aesthetic. Metallic films are all about luxury appeal, foil stamping, shiny materials. They just scream higher price point.
And is sustainability a big driver in material choice now?
It's massive. The whole industry is moving toward more sustainable options. We're seeing huge innovation in biodegradable films, compostable materials, and even just thinner materials that reduce waste without sacrificing that mandated durability.
This all leads perfectly into our final big topic, specialized labeling. Because labeling a huge tub of powder is a totally different ballgame than a little bottle of gummies. Oh, completely different. The container form dictates the entire strategy. For capsules and tablets in a curved bottle, the label application has to be perfectly coordinated to prevent bubbling or warping. Any little warp can make the text unreadable.
And you have to deal with child-resistant caps.
Exactly. The label design has to work around that closure mechanism so it stays functional while still leaving enough room for all the mandatory information.
I'm guessing Powders and liquids have their own unique challenges.
Huge ones.
Hmm.
For powders, the label has to resist moisture absorption. Otherwise, the adhesive fails. For liquids, especially with droppers, you have to place the label so it doesn't interfere with the seal or the function of the dropper itself.
What about the whole gummy and soft gel trend? I imagine they have special storage needs.
They absolutely do. They require temperature-sensitive adhesives. Gummies are often stored in controlled environments, and the label adhesive has to maintain its grip across that whole temperature range. If it fails because it got a little too cold or warm, you get peeling, and that's non-compliance.
So once you've nailed all the compliance and durability stuff, you still have to get someone to actually buy it. How do brands use the printing tech to signal premium?
They invest in advanced finishes. This is where the label becomes a tactile experience. You see things like embossing and debossing.
Where the text is either raised up or pressed in.
Exactly. That texture immediately enhances the perceived quality. It just feels expensive.
And things like foil stamping. Does that really provide a return on investment? It sounds costly.
It definitely raises the cost per label. But for premium products, the ROI is there. That little flash of metallic foil attracts the eye on the shelf and helps justify a higher price, which often more than pays for the finish. You also see holographic features, which look cool, but are also a great anti-counterfeiting tool.
And finally, labels are becoming more than just paper and ink. They're becoming part of the supply chain.
Yes, and that's all driven by variable data printing. Modern systems can automatically and without error integrate unique information onto each label.
Like lot and batch numbers, expiration dates.
And QR codes.
Which are no longer just for marketing websites, are they?
Not at all. They're crucial operational tools now. A consumer can scan that code for product authentication, to see full ingredient transparency, or even look up specific batch testing results. It links the physical bottle in your hand directly to the digital supply chain record.
So let's wrap this up. What does all this mean for the listener who's just trying to navigate the supplement aisle?
It means that professional printing isn't just a small detail. It's the critical bridge connecting that super strict regulatory world, the 8-point font, the adhesion tests, with the high-stakes world of consumer trust. It's a core investment, not just a line item.
And the market agrees. The global supplement packaging market is set to just explode, from around $12.7 billion this year to over $23 billion by 2034. And that growth is fueled by sustainability and this smart label tech, like QR codes.
Which leaves a provocative thought for you, the listener. The next time you pick up a supplement bottle, really look at the label. Since we know durability and legibility are the law, check it. Is the tiny text perfectly crisp? Is the ink consistent? Is it peeling at the edges?
And challenge yourself to think about what the quality of that tiny piece of printed material signals about the quality of the product inside.
Did the manufacturer really respect all those standards we talked about today? Because in this industry, more than many others, the outside is a direct reflection of what's on the inside.
That's all for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.